Hi everybody, David Paul with you here in the KHOU 11 Weather Center. Wanted to give you an update on the potential for tropical development, not only in the Gulf of Mexico, but perhaps right on our doorstep here on the upper Texas or Louisiana coast. If we're going to get development here, and the Hurricane Center gives it just a 20% chance, it would be early next week, most likely late Monday into Tuesday, and then if something were to form there, maybe making landfall somewhere along the Texas or Louisiana coast going into Wednesday. So that's the time frame. And as we look at the satellite right now, you can see there's nothing out here. The problem with this setup is that if something's going to develop, it's going to develop very quickly and perhaps with very little lead time. And so that's why we're stepping in to just let you know what we're watching on the computer models, what the atmosphere is doing, and to give you all the information that we have right now on this potential for some tropical development. How is this setting up? Well, it has everything to do with a cold front coming in. This is the front we've been talking about. It's going to bring us some rain as we head into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and break this heat wave and hopefully put a dent in the drought. And this is the map going into Monday morning, 5 a.m. And there's our frontal boundary with the scattered showers and thunderstorms from central Texas all the way to the Gulf Coast and into Louisiana. That will give us a rain chance going into Monday morning. And then as the front sags south, it weakens, but it's enough energy and instability to give us a rain chance going into Monday evening as well. And at this point, we don't see anything tropical development as far as any type of winds cutting off into a low pressure area. But notice a cluster of thunderstorms out over the Gulf. So that will be developing on the tail end of this decaying frontal boundary. And it will be in a situation where there's almost no wind shear out here. So there's nothing to tear apart a developing system. And on the tail end of this little frontal boundary, what you've got with these fronts, this is actually an elongated trough of low pressure. It's elongated. And quite often on these frontal boundaries that go out over warm water, the Gulf or off the east coast of the United States, they'll tap into that warm water energy. And if there's no shear, you can get a cutoff low pressure area. And that's what the models are suggesting might happen as we head into Tuesday afternoon, late Monday night into Tuesday and Tuesday early afternoon. We might see a low pressure area cut off here at the surface. And if that were to happen, well, then it could tap into all the energy out here, an unsheared environment, and it could develop into a tropical system of some strength or another. I talked about sea surface temperatures. That's why we're paying close attention to this, because usually at this time of the year, we don't have sea surface temperatures in the upper 80s to low 90s, but we do this year. It's unusually warm out here over the Gulf of Mexico. So that just adds fuel to any potential development out here. Closer view, 90 degrees sea surface temperature south of Louisiana, 87, 88 off the coast of Galveston. All you have to do is have sea surface temperatures at about 79, 80 to be enough to form tropical systems. You get up into the 90s, and it's really like having jet fuel just kind of waiting there to be tapped into by a developing system. These sea surface temperatures are well above normal. The brighter shades of red up to 5 degrees or a little bit more than that above where they normally are for this time of the year, 5 degrees. It doesn't sound like a lot. It actually is a huge amount statistically for this time of year. So there's plenty of energy just waiting to be tapped out here. One of the reasons why we're paying attention to this slight chance for development. And here's the way that model then plays out. So surface swirl, surface low pressure begins to form, cyclogenesis, what we call this, Tuesday afternoon on the tail end of that front. If that does happen, it could tap into that moisture. And the model, and this is the American model, but it mirrors what we're seeing with the Canadian model, the Japanese model, the European model, a weak little area of low pressure trying to form. That's what the models predict. Going into Tuesday afternoon, then in the wee hours of Wednesday morning, maybe we'd get some sort of tropical low making landfall somewhere along the Texas or Louisiana coast. This particular model run takes the center of a little low toward Corpus Christi, but none of this is set in stone by any stretch of the imagination. It's one of these very esoteric, very touchy, very just moment-to-moment type of situations where we just have to kind of watch and see how this plays out. And I personally am very curious. I'm fascinated to see how this ends up playing out. We've had scenarios like this in the past. In 2007, we had an old frontal boundary cluster of thunderstorms. A little storm formed right here, and then in about 12 hours became a Cat 1 hurricane, made landfall across the Bolivar Peninsula. That was Hurricane Umberto in 2007. In 1983, old frontal boundary came off, cluster of thunderstorms formed, little something meandered here, and then that hit Galveston as a Category 3 hurricane. That was Hurricane Alicia in 1983. So there is precedent for a little system like this that doesn't look like much on the models to tap into what are very favorable conditions out here and perhaps do something that kind of overachieves. That's why we're paying such close attention to it. Okay, so that would be a system moving onshore. Bottom line, this looks like whatever forms out here would be a rainmaker, which is what we need. This is the rain continuing to come in off the Gulf of Mexico going into Wednesday evening. So what do we do with all of this? Here's the bottom line right now. Possible tropical impacts Tuesday, Wednesday next week across Texas and Louisiana. Exactly where, we're not sure yet. We're going to have to wait and see how and even if that low forms. But if it does, it could become something of some significance. None of this is set in stone, but again, the Hurricane Center is watching it as well as we are, and they've got a 20% chance that something does develop out there. What do? Enjoy your weekend. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. But stay close to the forecast with us as well. Make sure you watch the TV updates. Those are live updates, especially at 10 o'clock. And we'll have the very latest on what's happening out there. And if something begins to spin up, I just don't want anyone to get caught off guard in case something does decide to form right on our doorstep. That's where we stand right now. And again, make sure you watch the weather at least once a day with us, especially going into Sunday night and Monday morning, so your family knows what's going on out there.